What's going on, everybody? This is the Ball Up Top podcast YouTube show. I'm your host, Mike. We're currently working on a series we're calling the Kevin Durant Sweepstakes. And even though the trade talks for the Durant has kind of dwindled down because Brooklyn's not exactly getting the offers they want, we're still putting our trudge on here. For those of you who don't know, a few weeks ago, Kevin Durant asked for a trade. 4 years left on his deal. One of the best players in the league. And so I'm under the opinion that when an opportunity like that comes and a guy has so much time left on his contract that no matter who you are, small market, large market, contender, not contender, a team that could become a contender, no matter who you are, you should at least kick the tires on that trade. And that's what we're here to do today. Um, this episode, we're going to focus on the New York Knicks. Now, the irony of the whole Knicks situation is the Knicks were one of the teams that were trying to get Durant and Kyrie. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Now, Brooklyn has asked, their asking price is rumored to be an all-star caliber player, a up and coming player who with all-star potential, and multiple first round picks. Now, the Knicks do have the picks. I'd also be remiss to say, let's remember that there are going on right now talks between the Knicks and the Jazz as it pertains to Donovan Mitchell. Me personally, Durant gets you further. Mitchell is more of a long term solution. So, but that's not what we're here to discuss. We'll probably do a future video just on, what I think would be the best Mitchell trade. But with that said, we're gonna jump in this. We're using fanspo.com, which I'll put the link in the description below so you guys can check it out. It's probably the most comprehensive of the trade machines I've seen. Like it follows things like the stipend rule and stuff that doesn't allow you to trade but a certain amount of draft picks on certain years. It allows you to do sign and trades. Like it's really a nice little tool. So we're gonna go ahead and move Kevin Durant over to the Knicks. Well, before I do that, let's remember that both New York is $19 million over the cap. Brooklyn is almost $60 million over the cap. So both of these teams financially have to be pretty close to make this work. So there we go. So with Durant making 44.1, it's going to be problematic. I don't see any deal that I mean, it will be rough. I'll put it like this. It would be rough. But I'm going to assume, based on what Brooklyn's asked, that you have to start with Julius Randle. I'm not sure if the Knicks want to give up Julius Randle. And that was like the big point of contention for me. But he does have the largest contract, and the Knicks do have other young players that have potential. So I'm actually going to try two different trades. The first trade I'm going to do is going to be without Randall. And so if you're looking like what are they looking at? Like I think they're gonna would what Mitchell Robinson. You have to hold on for a second. Pardon the phone interruption. Let's see here. Pardon the phone interruption. But we're gonna start with Mitchell Robinson. That's 13-3. We're also gonna go see the question then becomes RJ Barrett because RJ Barrett open is open to a contract extension soon. So I don't know if Brooklyn is going to be really pardon my really willing to take that on, depending on how I don't know if they're gonna depending on how much they view him. For me in this scenario, I don't think there's much of a choice. I think that RJ Barrett probably has to go. Like financially, I just don't see it working. They might like Derrick Rose. I don't think they're going to want Evan Fournier, considering he has 43 years left on his deal. So yeah, I think RJ Barrett definitely ends up going. So next, what we have is Right now, oh, I'm sorry. That right now that puts us at 20 at about $23 million. We're still really short. Really short. This is why Randall for a trade really becomes necessary, because now you're looking at, like, yeah, you almost have to include Evan. Like, without Evan, it's either gonna have to be Evan or it would have to be Derrick Rose. They both have, like, Derrick Rose would probably be the higher thing, but I think it'd also be the thing that New York tries to push back on, just so that they have that dynamic ball handler to go with it. That puts us at roughly, let's see, what, 31. That puts us a little bit over. Yeah, probably. I mean, that probably does it. Like, they don't get the All Star player they want, but they get two high level young players. One is considered to have All Star potential. So then it becomes about the draft picks. Now, they have a lot of draft picks. And, like, if I'm New York, the 23 for the first round from Washington is like, that's a I mean, if I'm Brooklyn, I should say, is a non-conversation. Like, that has to go. Um, and I would probably want the Knicks 23 also. And I'd probably ask for Detroit's 23. And the reason being this is that 2023 draft is supposed to be a coveted draft. So, and I'm not getting back an all-star player in return. So, like, with New York, I'm gonna look for like 7 first rounders. I'm not gonna joke around with it. I'm not gonna play around with it. So we get to 25. And again, I'm going to look. And I want these Knicks picks, and I want them unprotected for the simple reason of, if you look what they did, what happened with the Lakers and the Pelicans. Like, when you put these older teams together, there is a higher chance of things falling apart. So so the 25 Knicks pick, then I'm going to want the 27 Knicks pick. Like, without Randall and the fact that they have to take on 48's contract to make this work. Like, I honestly look at them trying to get as many draft picks as they can from the Knicks. Like, I look for them to price gouge it. The other thing with that is, all the years that they don't, possible swap. But overall, so we're going. If you look, we got Fortier, Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, draft picks. They've got 3 and 21, 23, 25, 27, and 29, giving them 6 first rounders. But those 3 and 23 are huge. They are, like, they'll be. It'll really help them with a quick turnaround. And let's go ahead and try the trade and see how successful. The drawback is the Nets don't get the All Star caliber player they want. They also have to take on Fournier's contract, which is not horrible in today's market, but it's really, you really don't want to spend that 18 million like that. But they get 2 young prospects and they get 6 draft picks. It's a good deal. So the second pick I'm going to try, the second trade, I should say. Let me reload this page. The second one is going to be and this is more along the lines of what they're asking for. Because my original premise was the Knicks would not want to give up Randall because they're trying to pair Durant with somebody. So let's go ahead and move Durant over again to the Knicks. But this time we're going to move over Julius Randle. So Randall taking 23 million, that's roughly about half of Durant's salary. That's a lot more flexibility. Now, in this scenario, I also see them saying, hey, we're probably going to want to try to keep Mitchell Robinson. And that's about balance on the floor. I feel like RJ Barrett becomes more expendable. only because that becomes that second player they want. So now they have their all-star player, they have their young player with all-star potential, and they also probably trade off Cam Reddish. Cam's potential is not what people thought it would be. He's still got upside, and on top of that, when you look at it, like he's not exactly a favorite of Tom Thibodeau. So making that move will help financially work this deal better. Um, that puts us at what 33, 34. That puts us at 40. 40 should be enough to get the deal done. And what Brooklyn also looks at is this is minus 4 million for luxury tax for them. So that's kind of a big deal, especially because they'll be paying the repeater tax. So now, since they got what they asked for in players, they got two young prospects and an all-star player. The Knicks can get away with giving them less. Um, like if I were New York, I would not give them the Washington pick in this scenario at all. But I would give them the Dallas pick, and I would probably give them my pick for this season. Giving them that's two first rounders. Then I would look to give them the Milwaukee pick in 25. And let me see what was something else. And then probably the Knicks pick in 27. Now, the reason why I get a lot more stringent upon these with these picks is that I've already given you young prospects. I've already given you an all-star player. I'll give you four first rounders, but these other two, the Dallas one, mine, they're probably gonna be late first rounders. The Milwaukee one's gonna be a late first rounder. So really, I'm only giving up one of my picks that are truly my picks that are threatened to fall anywhere. Let's go ahead and run the trade. Once again, that one works also. Um, Overall, do I think I don't believe the Knicks are a franchise that will make this move, though I believe they will actually benefit from this move. And then there is the Donovan Mitchell thing. And if I were the Knicks and I was choosing between Durant and Mitchell, the asking price for Mitchell will probably be less. He's a younger player. He's more affordable. I probably do go Mitchell. I mean, right now I hear that Utah's asking price is outrageous, so it probably would be a deal breaker, and that's partly because of what Danny Ainge fleeced from Minnesota for Rudy Gobert. But that's a whole other conversation. Um, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, do all of those fun things. You can follow us on Instagram at BallUpTopPod, at the Ball Podcast, at Twitter at Ball Up Top Pod. We love to interact with you guys. We try to get back to all your comments. We love having different conversations. We are doing some retooling as it pertains to the podcast and some other stuff. So we're kind of on a hiatus until getting closer to the basketball season. More on that to come. Meanwhile, this Kevin Durant series will continue. The next episode, we are going to go with the Houston Rockets. So until then, everybody have a good weekend, a safe time, enjoy yourself. Peace.